In today's video, I'm gonna share 4 breakfast recipes with you. Everything is fall inspired and our secret ingredient for today is pumpkin. So let's dive right in. I wanted to start this video off with a very requested recipe. I shared these bagels last week on Instagram and you guys went nuts about them. So that's why I'm gonna share them at first. You're simply gonna combine some pumpkin puree, some vegan yogurt, and you're just gonna mash it up until it's a very smooth texture. To this, you're gonna add some flour and vegan neutral protein. You could also add some more flour if you don't want to use protein powder. I think it's a fun thing to add, but it's completely optional. You could also add vanilla protein powder, but in this case I think you could only eat these bagels sweet. I've never tried anything savory with vanilla protein, but you do you. I mean, if you like that, go for it. And well, then you're just gonna form some bagels. I then added some pumpkin seeds on top because I wanted them to look cute, and then they go into the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. It always depends on how huge your bagels are. You could also make like little buns out of them or one huge bagel, but I wanted to eat one sweet and one savory. That's why I made 2 out of them. And yeah, then you're just gonna bake them until they are done and let them cool. It's very important to let them cool, in my opinion, because otherwise they will be very fudgy from the inside, if you know what I mean. After they've cooled, you can just add any toppings you like. I did some pistachio butter with cherry jam. It's homemade cherry jam. My dad actually made this one, not my mom. And yeah, the other one I had with some tomato flavored hummus, and it was absolutely divine. So I would highly recommend you to try these. Absolutely worth it. The next super fun fall recipe I wanted to share with you is a extremely clustery granola recipe. And I like this recipe especially because it's very clustery, as I said, and you can snack it as well. You don't only have to eat it on top of a yogurt bowl or on top of porridge or whatever, but you can really snack on it because the clusters are so huge that you can simply grab it out of the bowl and put it into your mouth. And what I wanted to say is that I'm not using any pumpkin puree in any of this recipe. I just had a pre-baked pumpkin and I'm taking some flesh out of it and mashing it up with a fork because I just can't find pumpkin puree in any supermarket here. So if you live in Germany and you found pumpkin puree in any supermarket, please let me know where you get it because I don't know where to get it. Anyways, you first gonna start by mixing up all of the wet ingredients, then you're gonna add the dry ingredients, mix everything very well together, and then you're gonna place it on a baking tray. Try to lay it as flat as possible and also try to not make tiny crumbles out of it, but try rather to make like a whole dough, if that makes any sense. I'm not quite sure right now. But when you put it in the oven and you take it out after 10 minutes, you're gonna try to flip it. Try not to break it as much. And then you're gonna bake it for another 10 minutes. And after that, you're gonna let it cool down completely. And then you're gonna break it down into tiny pieces. So it requires a lot of waiting, but it's worth it, trust me. And yeah, then you can just break it down into tiny pieces and serve it as it is. You can also eat it with some milk. You can also eat it with yogurt bowls like I show you here. And the recipe for this yogurt bowl is also in this video, so stay tuned. And I would say let's jump to the next recipe. If you know me by now and if you can read my name, you can guess that this video will contain an oatmeal recipe, and surprise, we're gonna make a pumpkin pie oatmeal. So we're gonna start off by frying our pumpkin with maple syrup and some pumpkin spice in a pot, and just fry it until it smells super nicely and you get like a golden caramelized pumpkin. Then to that pot you're gonna add your oats, vanilla and everything else, and then you're just gonna simply cook porridge as you're used to do it. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to tell you. Oh, and then we're gonna make some chocolate sauce to top it off. For this sauce, you're just simply gonna mix some water, cacao powder, sugar, and some yogurt to make it like a thicker kind of sauce. Anyways, you're just gonna add some toppings, anything you like you used to do with oatmeal, and drizzle some sauce on top, and that's it. I mean, nothing fancy, just a simple pumpkin pie oatmeal. So let's move on to our final recipe, and I have to say, besides the pumpkin bagels, this is definitely my favorite recipe because it's just such a special yogurt bowl. I think you've never had a more special yogurt bowl than this. So we're simply gonna start by mixing some vegan yogurt. I used a pea yogurt. It's pretty new here in Germany. It's by Fly, and they just launched it and it's so good. So if you can get your hands on it, definitely try it. I absolutely fell in love with this one. And then I'm adding some vanilla chai protein. I use mine by Garden of Life. You can also get a 20% discount if you click the link down below. And but you could also use any other vanilla protein. And then I'm also adding some oat flour. But if you don't have protein, or if you don't want to use protein, you can simply add more oat flour to it. We need the oat flour and protein for the texture of this bowl, and then just add some water and mix it well. For our pumpkin caramel, we're just gonna mix some pumpkin puree together with honey or maple syrup and cashew butter and pumpkin spice, and just mix it until it's very smooth. Mine isn't as smooth as I wanted it to be, but this is just because I didn't use pumpkin puree, but just mashed pumpkin. I could have blended it in my blender, but I was just too lazy because I wanted it to be a fast bowl, and that's why I didn't do that. Anyways, when the caramel is done, you can just spread it on top of your yogurt bowl and set it into the fridge. You can leave it there overnight. You can also put it into the freezer for 20 minutes. If you can't wait, that's what I did because I didn't want to wait. And yeah, then I just let it there for 20 minutes and it had a very, very beautiful texture. So if you're like me, just put it into the freezer. And yeah, be ready for an extremely creamy and absolutely flavorful high protein yogurt bowl. I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it.